Hey, it's Diane DeWald with CreativeCatCrafts.com. We're going to try take number 3. I'm having a hard time talking tonight, or today. I apologize. But would you believe if I told you that I created this marbled, beautiful background with an alcohol marker? Would you believe me? I hope you do because I did. I used the I have the Ohuhu Honolulu B 320 set, and I created this using this marker and some alcohol. But before we get into that, because I'm going to show you how to do this on several different mediums, in case you don't have alcohol paper, I'm going to show you an alternative which isn't quite the same, but will get you results very similar. So in my last video, I created this comparison chart between the Gina K Designs ink and cardstock colors to the 320 Ohuhu Honolulu B alcohol markers, where you see, and I'll put a link to the video if I remember. Whoops, up here, if I remember to do that in post editing. Now you'll notice on the chart, which I will have a link to my free resources down below, which has this chart with the new numbering system, which is what I have, plus the old system. So you'll be able to, if you have the old numbering system from Ohuhu, you'll be able to use this. But I have let's get back on task, where you see double lines or there's no corresponding ink for the Ohuhu. I didn't find an acceptable, in my opinion, using the cardstock I used plus my studio lighting. I didn't see a visual comparison that worked. And on some of these, it's close, but you just have to accept that it's just close. Some of those, like this blue Lagoon, to me, it was a perfect match. Now, I do not have blue Lagoon cardstock. I don't think there was ever one made, but, and I'm going to get you in real close here for a second because you're just going to be amazed at this. So this was part of my process where I took a foam dauber just like this and swatched out all of the Gina K inks that I have. I believe I have all of them, but there may be some retired ones that I don't. And look at that. That is a pretty darn close. This matte layer here, I did with an alcohol marker in my last video. And this is really, really close. So I said in my last video I was going to use the blue Lagoon ink. I didn't on this card. So we're going to rectify that in today's video. And let me move you back out so that this isn't all in your face. But let's go ahead, get started with everything I'm going to use today. And I forgot to grab my Master Layout 1. So Master Layout 1, the front of, and the card we're going to make before I introduce that. This is the card we're going to make, and we're going to finish this with a sentiment in Blue Lagoon. So I'm going to rectify my fibbing to you in the last video. So this is the card we're going to create today with a few little differences. I think this is really cute on the inside, but these snowflakes, I almost called them stars, these snowflakes, I'm going to make them shiny. So we're going to do that as well. But things that we're going to need to make this card. Master Layout 1, these two large rectangles, which is what's here on the front. And I'm going to go ahead, this was Master Layout 2 on the inside, but I'm going to use the smaller of the two rectangles from Master Layout 1. And I'll put the dimensions up later. So if you do not have the master layouts, you'll be able to cut your cardstock down to dimension. And before I get to cardstock, we're going to use the Merry Christmas from Graphic Tree. It's this one here, and I have a bunch of die cuts already cut out. And then on the inside, I just grabbed a snowflake from A Little Something from Gina K Designs. And then from Snowflake Trio, we are going to use this particular snowflake instead of this. This die for me, it's not cutting out well. So I don't know if it's a defective die or it's just my machine and my plates. But this one cuts much better. So this is the one we're going to use in place of the original. Cardstock. My card base, it's already pre-scored, pre-cut. I get them from Cardstock. It's an A2 size, which in US dimensions, it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. And for the inside layer and for the matte layer, I am using 80-pound cover cardstock from Cut Cardstock. It's the classic Crest Solar White. And for the snowflakes, I cut out one from the Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, 110 pound, and then another layer of Stardream Metallic, 74-pound Eris. And this is, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to, oh, yep, you can see it shimmers and shines. So I'm using the Neenah as the base because it's a two-layer snowflake, just to give it a little dimension. I didn't want to put it on foam because that would be really hard to cut all those little foam strips. So I did 2 layers on the cardstock. Now, for the panel that we're going to do this alcohol technique, this particular one, and I can't remember if it's, oops, would help. When you're doing this marbling, you need an alcohol ink paper. It's a smooth surface and it's plasticky. I don't know if it's truly plastic, but it allows your inks and your blending solution or alcohol to move the ink around and get all these beautiful marbling patterns. I have 2 different ones, and I think this is the Pixxis and this is the Break Creations. I found no difference between the 2 of them. What I did find is that using an alcohol marker, and I'm trying to find what I did with it. With the alcohol marker versus alcohol inks, the blending solution from Tim Holtz or Ranger did not work well on any of the mediums I used when the ink came from a marker. I have had great success, and I don't have, I don't know what I did with my samples. Oh, here we are. So here's the blending solution, and I think you can actually see where I scribbled the marker, and the blending solution didn't get rid of that. And I imagine if I could have worked it, but this blending solution, it is expensive. So I'm going to use this with my actual alcohol inks versus the marker. 91% isopropyl alcohol. You can see I got it at Meijer. Pick it up at whatever's convenient. This is cheap compared to the blending solution. So I will reserve this for my alcohol inks. If you do not have the alcohol ink paper, you can use Vellum. And this is what happens. This is my, turn this over. This is what I did with the blending solution. And I can still see some of the marker swipes on it, which is why I really wasn't going to show you this, but what I did with my vellum is I glued it down to a piece of cardstock. And so I can't show you what it looks like against other colored cardstock. So let me grab some sea glass. Because the card that I did last time with the snowman, look at that. Look at how that changes when you put this on sea glass. And you have a muted side, which is the opposite side of where the alcohol ink has been placed. And then you have a more vibrant side with the alcohol ink. And let me just grab a white piece of cardstock here so that you can see the comparison. See how that really pops? And then if I turned it over, it's just a tad more muted. And the way I glued this down, this vellum down, is I took the cardstock and a makeup sponge, or you could use a foam dauber. I don't have any of Gina's foam daubers. And I just put on a silicone mat, a bunch of glue, and I literally drug this across the whole piece of cardstock. And then I took the vellum and glued it down. See how that is really beautiful on that sea glass, because the blue lagoon and that sea glass really complement one another. So that's the card I used the last time, and I used the corresponding alcohol markers to sea glass and blue lagoon. And now this is actual sea glass ink that I used in the grounding element for the last one. So let's go ahead, get this all set up, and let's get making some of these backgrounds. I'll be right back. Okay, I have most of this all set up, but I did forget to grab my little silicone mat. It's a mixed media mat, and I believe this is for the Tim Holtz, his big mixed media. I think this is to cover, this is a replacement cover for the right hand side of his mixed media. Not 100% sure, but I'll have that link down below once I get this video uploaded and posted. So the Blue Lagoon, for the ink, I am grabbing the BG011. It's what I used the last time, and we're going to do a panel of G410, which corresponds to Lucky Clover. So we're going to do two different panels on the alcohol paper, and then I'm going to do one of, and I'm going to change that. I want it to go that direction, and I'm going to do one of vellum of the Blue Lagoon. So all I'm doing, and I've got my handy dandy little blower. Okay, make sure you're in a very well ventilated area. You are putting alcohol particles, I'm turning my fan up, you're putting alcohol particles into the air. And for somebody who has asthma, I have a very mild form of asthma, do not use a straw. Protect your lungs. They're not replaceable in most cases. I know there are some people that have gone through and done some lung transplants. That's just, treat that as not an option, especially if you damage them breathing in chemicals and alcohol like this. So I actually have, it's really hot in my studio. I have the window cracked and I have a fan blowing the air around, and I just am taking precautions. So let's go ahead. Let's get this started. I've got my 91% isopropyl alcohol, and this is one of Gina K's fine tip bottles that I have put the alcohol in. I'm trying to write that down and speak at the same time, and that doesn't work. And all I'm doing is, there might be some harsh lines on here, but we'll see what happens. And I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. And I'm just squirting it on here, and I'm going to start moving it around. Oops, need some there. Trying to get rid of those harsh lines. And we're just blowing it around. And the beauty of this is, oops, I need a piece of towel. The beauty of this is, if you don't like this right there, you can just add more solution and start moving it around. See how I just completely changed that look? So you can do little puffs or you can do big puffs. And I'm just going to pick this up. And I'm looking into the light to see how much, because I don't want to ruin my marker, but I just want to put down a little bit more right there. And we need some over here because it doesn't look like I have, oops, wrong end. So I'm just going to lay some marker there and squirt some alcohol on it and start moving that around. And you can also pick it up and move it around. And once I touch my marker tip to this, I wipe it off on this towel. So if I picked up any extra alcohol, I don't want to ruin the nib on this. So we're going to let this dry. I kind of like that. And we're going to do the same thing with some vellum. And we're going to use the blue Lagoon. And I'm just putting a bunch of alcohol down, or alcohol marker, I should say. And we're just going to start moving this around. And get that up from the edge. I don't want it pooling on the edge like it's doing. And that just, see, I just lifted that right off. And if I'm not talking a lot, it's because there's alcohol in the air. There. And this is, the vellum tends to curl. So I'm just going to use my reverse tweezers and hold that down. And voila. Let's see if I can pick this up. That is really pretty. And if it dries and you don't like it, you can easily go back and change it. So this time I'm going to wipe the ends of those reverse tweezers. I saw blue alcohol in them. So now we're going to switch gears and we're going to do the equivalent of Lucky Clover. And see what we get. I've not tested this one before. You're seeing this one live. And this may not work. And it's not, look at that. This particular marker is not working, which happens. So you're seeing an epic fail. But the Blue Lagoon, I mean, this is the Blue Lagoon. Isn't that gorgeous? This one, nope. I'm going to say that's a hard no on this one. Okay, rather than use the alcohol marker, I'm going to use a foam dauber. Sometimes my experiments don't work. And we're done with that, but I'm going to see if I can pick up some of this ink right here. Nope. And since I have all this lovely ink down, I'm just going to get all these panels out of the way and some water. Because you know, when you have ink on the desk, you know you got to use it. I love it. Oops, there's my fingerprint in it. Okay, I'm going to put this over here on the paper towel. And let's go ahead and get these cut out. Let me throw Master Layout 1 Dimensions. I'm going to put that on the screen and I'll be right back. I'll have these all cut out. Okay, there's those dimensions. I've got everything cut out. I also have our snowflakes cut out. We'll glue those together. But in the meantime, I'm going to grab this little snowflake from A Little Something. And this is still our Blue Lagoon cardstock. So I think you can see it's still, when I did a stamp off the edge, it still has a little bit of ink on it. So I just want to wipe that ink off. That's why I have this little post-it note here. And we are done with that. So that's for our inside. And I'm just going to wipe this ink up real quick. And I've got my Misty. And I think you're done with the dimensions. I already have out the Merry Christmas. That's the negative space for the Merry Christmas from Graphic Tree. And I like to do this with my die cuts. And this time I got the negative space from Craft, so you will see this. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Whoops. Let me grab the stamp real quick. And I'm going to stamp 3 of these Merry Christmases real quick. And this is our Blue Lagoon ink. And so you can see it, I'm going to grab some tape to secure this after I get it all lined up, because I want that sentiment to be perfectly placed. Just like that. Let's get several of these done. Perfect. And I'm going to grab my cube. I just feel that with these smaller sentiment strips, it's just easier to do this with the cube. And I am just kissing that cardstock. And I'm going to pop that out of there. And I want to do 2 more, because I've got those cards from the last one to finish. Perfect. Just gonna wipe that down. That last one got a little bit of cat hair on it, I think. One of my cats, my cat Sheena, who I had to take to the... Did you know there's urgent care vets? There's ERs, but there's also an urgent care here in Fort Wayne, and I'm grateful. She's fine. She just ripped a toenail off, and it's like a paper cut. There was blood everywhere. Of course, you know, pet mom here, I panicked. But it's a good thing, because she got antibiotics and some anti-inflammatory to help her with the pain. So let me grab the 2 cards from last week. And actually, let me get the... I like to do these. Turn that around so that it's Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. I like to do my sentiment strips, whoops, multiple layers, just to give it a little more meat, so to speak. Sorry I'm not talking during the creation there. Should have had that on a silicone background. What did I do with? There it is. Oh, let me grab another one. That one's in use. I have several of these. There. Get that all lined up. Perfect. I cut my nails and I can't pick anything up. Perfect. And press that down. And while those are drying, let's go ahead and get this card. Sorry, I was off shot, out of camera. Oh, there was some glue on the back of that. Leaving a trail of glue right there. And I saw right there. So let's go ahead and get this on the inside. That just moved. Oh, there. I think that's really cute. And then this, oops, wrong glue bottle. I am using Gina's matte glue just because it's open. I have it. I like that. I really like this. And let's get this on the front of this card, and then we'll get these snowflakes together. And there. Not yet. Snowflakes. So here are my shiny pieces. Yep, those are my shiny. Here's my matte, and I'm just going to okay, I'm trying to get that primed. There we go. Get glue dots all over the place. Okay, and the shiny one on top. Oh wow, that really lined up well. Okay, we're going to use that on that. We're going to move that up there. I need to clean these mats. I see the glue. And do the same thing. That's the shiny. Get it primed. There we go. Just get a bunch of glue dots down. Okay. Let's see if this one works as well as the first one. Because we're going to flip them over. Nope. There. Awesome. Okay. We're going to do the same thing. And while we're waiting on that, I need some foam. I think this will work. I just need my scissors because I'm going to cut a strip on the border because it literally is going to go across the whole thing. Too long. And I'm going to pause you and finish the rest of that. You don't need to sit here and watch me do that. Okay, I've got those all foamed up with adhesive. I'm going to flip these two over and get these glued up. So this was an interesting experiment with the Ohuhu alcohol markers. Some colors work, some don't. Feel free to drop in comments if you decide to try this technique and which ones worked for you. Because for me, it looks like the blue ones all work. The pink one I did looked like it changed colors. Okay, so we're going to do one up here in the corner. And then one down here. And get those out of the way. my big block to press those down flat. But I'd be curious to know if you try it and which ones work and which ones don't. And let's see if I can. Ooh, my camera's crooked. I did move it. Hang on. There. I moved it the other day. That's cute. That's super cute. I like those. Get my water bottle out of the lighting. I like to use my overhead camera so that I can see if this is straight or not in the center. Yeah, look at that. Okay, let's get this guy finished. And I see cat hair. You won't see it, but I sure see it. Okay, this is going to go right here in the middle. Voila. And from Cartwright Sequins and Beads, this is Mermaid Crystal Metallic Confetti. These are cute. I'm just going to dump a bunch of them there because we're going to put a bunch of them on here. And we're going to finish off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do one here. Oops, that's a big one. Small one. And let's see what we get. Okay. These have a concave direction. So if you see me do that, it's because it was not right side up. Okay. Let's see if we got a little one down here. Ooh, I like that. Those are cute. Okay, where are my one up here? There. And oh, that just finishes that card. I like that. Okay, one up there. Oops. One right there. Oh, come on. There. And then one right here. Ooh. Thanks so much for coming along on this journey and watching my fail. Sometimes it just happens in card making and you move on. I think this turned out, and the sparkle in those snowflakes really works, whereas these are just a flat white. I really like the sparkle on those, and that Merry Christmas in Blue Lagoon matches perfectly with the alcohol marker border. Thanks a lot for joining me. Sorry for the failure, but I'm glad you saw it because we all crash and burn sometimes when we're making cards, and it's okay. You just pick up the pieces and you move on and you create something different. I'll have everything linked down below. If there's something you've seen in the video that I don't have a link for, just leave me a comment. And while you're down there, if you hit that like button, it helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and I very much appreciate it. It's all of you liking my videos, leaving comments that push my video out to other viewers who are new. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate you stopping by. And if you enjoy what you have seen here today, hit that subscribe button down below and that notification bell so that the next time I upload a video, you're notified. And until next time, happy stamping.